My beautiful neighbor invited me for coffee. I wasn't ready for what happened next. The invitation came on the one morning I had almost convinced myself that life had stopped surprising me. I was carrying a box of old office files toward the recycling bin outside my apartment in Asheville, North Carolina, trying not to think about the career I had lost or the future I couldn't see anymore. Then my beautiful neighbor Rebecca stepped onto her porch with 2 steaming coffee mugs in her hands, smiled gently, and asked if I could spare a few minutes. I thought it would be an ordinary cup of coffee between neighbors. I had no idea that before the morning was over, one quiet conversation would change the direction of my life forever. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances still have the power to change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach more people who need a little hope today. Only 3 months earlier, I had been a respected project manager for a construction company. My name is Nathan, and at 41 years old, I thought I had finally built the stable life my late parents always wanted for me. Then the company downsized after losing several contracts, and my position disappeared overnight. Savings vanished faster than I expected, interviews ended with polite rejection emails, and every morning became another battle against disappointment. I kept smiling whenever I crossed paths with neighbors because pride made it easier to pretend everything was fine than admit I felt completely lost. Rebecca had lived next door for nearly 2 years. She worked from home, always greeted everyone warmly, and spent weekends planting flowers around the shared courtyard. We exchanged small talk often but never knew much about each other's lives. I assumed she was simply being neighborly when she invited me over for coffee that Saturday morning. Her backyard looked like something from a magazine, filled with colorful flowers, bird feeders, and a wooden swing beneath an old maple tree, yet despite the peaceful setting, I noticed something different about her. There was a quiet sadness behind her smile that reminded me of the way I looked in the mirror every morning. As we sat together, the conversation drifted naturally from gardening to work, then to family, and finally to loss. Without intending to, I admitted how ashamed I felt after losing my job. I confessed that I avoided calling old friends because I didn't want them asking how work was going. I admitted that every rejection letter made me question whether I had any value left. Rebecca listened without interrupting. There was no pity in her eyes, only understanding. After a long silence, she quietly shared something I never expected. 5 years earlier, her husband, Matthew, had passed away after a sudden illness. Overnight, she became a widow, inherited a struggling neighborhood community center, and found herself responsible for programs serving struggling families throughout Asheville. She told me there had been mornings when simply getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain. Yet strangers had shown her unexpected kindness during those darkest days, and she had promised herself she would never ignore someone carrying invisible burdens. Then she reached beneath the table and handed me a neatly folded folder. Inside were plans for expanding the community center into an employment resource hub where local residents could receive job training, career coaching, and practical support. She admitted she had delayed the project because she couldn't find someone she genuinely trusted to manage it. Over months of watching me quietly help elderly neighbors carry groceries, shovel snow during winter, and repair broken fences without asking for anything in return, she had realized that character mattered more than an impressive resume. She wasn't offering charity, she was offering purpose. At first, I couldn't even answer. Tears blurred the pages as I stared at the proposal. For months, I had believed everyone saw me as an unemployed failure. Yet someone had been paying attention to the parts of me that no resume could describe. The following weeks became the busiest of my life. Together, we recruited volunteers, restored unused classrooms, organized career workshops, and partnered with local businesses willing to hire people who simply needed another opportunity. Every success reminded me that losing one career hadn't meant losing my ability to make a difference. The most meaningful moment came during our first employment fair. A single father named Caleb secured a stable maintenance position after months of searching. As he hugged his young daughter outside the building, I realized I was witnessing the same hope someone had quietly given me only weeks before. Sometimes life doesn't rescue us through dramatic miracles. Sometimes it sends a neighbor carrying 2 cups of coffee and enough compassion to remind us that our hardest season isn't the final chapter. Rebecca never erased my past, but she helped me believe my future still had room for purpose, faith, and hope. Before this story comes to an end, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about a person whose unexpected kindness changed your life. Your story might encourage someone reading the comments who feels alone today. As I locked the community center one evening nearly a year later, I looked across the courtyard where everything had started. The same maple tree stood quietly in the fading sunlight, and I finally understood that coffee had never been the real invitation. It had been an invitation to trust again, to believe again, and to discover that even broken seasons can bloom into something beautiful when compassion finds its way to the right heart. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that hope often arrives when we least expect it, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with someone who needs encouragement, subscribing for more uplifting stories, and letting us know your thoughts below. Your kindness keeps these stories alive, and together we can continue spreading hope, one heartfelt story at a time. Have for